school board to the county board and more, DeWittDailyNews.com covers the local news you expect from the area's #1 local news source, and it's all absolutely free. Now you have even more ways to access DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether you're at your desktop, laptop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com is delivered to all those platforms. That's right. It's even there on your iPhone and smartphone. The same local news, weather, and sports that's on the full-size edition is on your iPhone and smartphone just by going to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you haven't tried it, why don't you? Go to Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more on your desktop, laptop, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guests in this segment of the morning show from Heritage Behavioral Health, we have CEO Mary Garrison. Good morning, Mary. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Director of Heritage, Cory Baxter, in with us as well. Cory, good to have you back, my friend, and good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for making time for us, guys. And really exciting stuff out of Heritage, particularly in Clinton and DeWitt County. And we'll get to this as we talk this morning. You know, you've got now a new location, ownership. What folks knew as the old Richland Center is now Heritage's. Mary, let's go back, though, a little bit and remind folks just a little bit about Heritage's presence in Clinton. You know, what this dates back to, how you ended up in Clinton and DeWitt County.
Absolutely. So I'll just put the plug in that Heritage has been in existence across the board since from 67 years. And so we arrived in Clinton in 2017, about a year after HRC closed, trying to fill that gap for services. So we serve Macon, DeWitt, and Piatt County.
Sure. What are some of the services that Heritage offers folks?
We offer the whole person services. We offer substance use, mental health, and now we offer primary care services that are also available to folks in DeWitt County as well. So all that we serve under our umbrella, although some of them are here in Clinton, some of the others are in Macon County, and particularly our primary care is in Macon County, and folks can access that service there.
For sure. Now, you come to Clinton kind of hoping to fill that void left by HRC and those sorts of things. And Cory, I know you were with HRC for many years. As you got to know Heritage, talk a little bit about what you saw and some of the things that they brought to the table that would benefit Clinton in that absence of HRC.
So Heritage came in and they were really there to fill the gap that was left when HRC ended its clinical programs. And of course, HRC has kind of continued with Encore developmental services. So there's still a presence here. But honestly, they came in and they really helped out with supported housing services. They did a lot of the mental health and substance use treatment on an outpatient basis. They continued psychiatric services for people who were taking psychotropic medications. So they really, and crisis, they were doing the crisis services too. So they really did step in and fill those gaps where HRC had left off.
Sure. So now, Mary, you come into Clinton, you need a place to go. Where have you been until, now the new Richland or the old Richland site? Where have you been in Clinton physically, if you will?
So since 2017, we currently are still there. We're kind of tag teaming both buildings. We're at the 40 Clinton Plaza over by Tractor Supply. So have that front space there. And again, we're really just kind of outgrowing that. In particular for the amount of individuals that need services, and then also because the types of services. So the space is small enough that they don't even have a place to have a staff meeting unless the agency's closed. They have to use the front lobby. So we really saw the need for increased group services or to add those and to increase access for individual services as well.
Sure. Now, I don't know how long you've been with Heritage, Mary, but if you were here for that kind of time of transition, coming into Clinton and those sorts of things, speak to what that looked like from, demand to services to what has transpired in those areas since then until now. How about that?
Sure. Well, Honestly, Seth, I've been here. I'm in my 11th month at Heritage.
Oh, okay.
But
Wow.
I've been connected with Heritage for a while in a clinical role prior to being CEO. And so what I do know, and I'll ask Cory to speak to this as well, is that once we said we're going to come in and we're going to have a physical presence, I think that opened up the door for people to realize, oh, great, we can actually have something in our community. And I think that's really important because, yes, we could ask you to come to Decatur and access services there, but we're going to lose a lot of folks. We need to be an individual's home community. And so I think that's a really important piece, that we're here, and Cory is an incredible asset as well as his entire staff, because they live here and they know the community, and that's comfortable then to maybe see a friendly face and come in and access those services.
Sure. So, Cory, what did that look like in terms of Heritage getting itself established, the demand and the space and the programs? Speak to that progression a little bit.
So from my understanding, Heritage started off with one small office at Cleveland Village, the supported residential here. And, as the need grew, as people, and I think the need was always there, I guess, but as people became more familiar with Heritage, more trusting of Heritage, they started coming in more. And that's when we needed a bigger space. That's when we ended up in 40 Clinton Plaza, where we're currently at. And, that kind of trend has continued. So we keep seeing more people for more needs. And so now we just need a bigger space so we can continue expanding and meeting those needs of the people coming in to see us.
Sure. Speak a little bit to, Cory, that crunch that you're experiencing now, where you need now a bigger space at the, at what is the address of Richland, I guess?
It's 140 Sunrise Court.
There, on Sunrise Court. There you go. We'll call it the location on Sunrise Court. And, so speak to the need now, Cory, that you're seeing on a day in and day out basis. How about that?
So currently we have people coming in for assessments on most days, requesting assessments most days. And honestly, our staff, we do what we can to meet that need, but there's such a demand right now that people have to wait to get in for an assessment for a little bit. So with that, we want to have more staff come in. We want to have more availability, and we've actually hired not too long ago a crisis interventionist for full time.
Sure.
And of course, there's not crises across the county 24 hours a day. So during the day, a lot of times our crisis person is working with getting people in, getting their immediate needs met as they come in, and really trying to work with them until they can get established with a counselor, a case manager, or whatever the longer term solution may be.
Sure. Well, and again, our guest in studio this morning, CEO of Heritage Behavioral Health, Mary Garrison, and director of Clinton's Heritage Sites, Cory Baxter, with us here for today. And so we transitioned to now the Sunrise Court location, and that, of course, it was designed for education and, higher education. So you're talking, maybe more classroom settings, bigger, settings and meeting rooms and things of that nature. Is it just ready, kind of the plug and play, as I like to use in kind of the sports world? Is it ready for you to just jump in and start using? What needs to happen out there, Mary?
So at this point, it is ready for groups. And so actually we Cory facilitated the first group back on June 9th. And but the rest of the space needs to be kind of built out. We need some renovations. It's in great shape, but we need some office space and confidential space. So part of what Cory spoke of is not only are we already kind of busting out of where we are, but we do anticipate, as we move forward, adding more staff. And so we want to be really mindful that we don't get that we use the space appropriately and don't get too big too soon, but really work through that. So we're going to sit in it for a bit. Renovations are going to start here in the next month or so. And then we'll transition out of the 40 Clinton Plaza by the end of November.
Sure. I feel like adding walls is easier than taking walls out.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And again, because the structure, it's only 10 years old, it's in really great shape. It isn't going to be that difficult, as what our contractors tell us. So, but yeah, adding those walls and having that space, it's more about thinking really deliberately about what the space will look like and that we're clear on what we want.
And once we start using it, of course, we're going to figure out exactly what it is we need.
Yeah.
So we've got a plan, but we're moving forward.
Now, is there, I think of like the education world.
Mhm.
And you know, we see these school buildings, perhaps you guys drive through them in your communities, that are ages and ages old, and they were
Yeah.
designed for a certain style of learning. And now
Mhm.
we're seeing new buildings go up and they're designed for a new style of learning.
Mhm.
In the behavioral health world, do you see, you know, the settings in which you connect with people, have those changed where maybe it's different from, you know, counselor behind a desk taking notes, or maybe counselor in a chair and client on the couch, you know, staring at the ceiling, spilling their, you know, their misfortunes and things of that nature? Is the counseling world different now than it used to be?
I would say yes.
It is
I
definitely.
think it's the environment matters so much. When you walk in somewhere, you're already taking that chance. Maybe someone's feeling really nervous to come in and say, I need help.
Mhm.
If we don't have an environment that is conducive and supportive and calming for you to come into, then that's going to maybe turn you away.
Mhm.
It needs to be a fluid environment. And Cory talked about our crisis interventionist that we hired. That's a prime role right now, that she can be that contact, kind of that connection, that first caring contact to then do a warm handoff.
Mhm.
And so I think the space and how we work with folks at their choice is going to be really important, whether that's in an office,
Mhm.
whether that's outside walking on a trail, or Cory, you might want to add.
Yeah, what do you think, Cory?
Yeah, so a lot of our services are already done in the community. So coming in to sit down with the counselor on a couch, we don't have couches, by the way, we have chairs. But, you know, at the same time, getting out in the community, going into people's homes, these are
Mhm.
things we already do.
Oh,
And
really?
It's not traditionally what people think of when they
Mhm.
think of counseling.
Yeah.
Another really important piece of this is with COVID and stuff, it really expanded our use of technology.
Mm.
Yeah.
So they do have the option of virtual services through secure remote connections,
Mhm.
and they can see their counselor. The counselor can see them,
Mhm.
so they can do continue with counseling services from their own home with a counselor that's trained and able to do that. So I think that's a huge change in how counseling is done and what it actually looks like.
Are digital connections as good as in-person connections when it comes to counseling and those sorts of things?
You know, I think so. I think they're different in a lot of ways. But for certain people, I think it's a lot easier to get online and talk to somebody through video. And that is the thing that links them up. And those people might not otherwise come into a building and actually see somebody.
I see.
So it's more private in a lot of ways, but also a lot of people have anxiety about public spaces or, you know, people in general. So for those folks, it's a really good option to get hooked in and that sort of thing. Transportation can also be a barrier.
Okay.
So remote work does a lot of really good work for people.
For sure. For sure. Mary, final thoughts on that from you?
I would just say, particularly in rural communities, such as in DeWitt County and even Macon County, that access to telehealth is really, really important because of some of those barriers of transportation, and then just time. And we think about kind of the roles that individuals have. If you're working with a farmer who it's not an 8 to 5, I can't just come in. So maybe we can meet them where they are on their tractor, on their phone, and through telehealth. So it's a wonderful option for folks to be able to access.
Sure. Cory, where do you usually direct folks to learn more about all the things that behavioral health has to offer? I'm sorry, Heritage Behavioral Health.
Yes.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Yes.
Yes. No, our website is it heritageorg.net?
heritagenet.org.
heritagenet.org. Hey,
Get it confused.
close
It's
enough.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So are you on social media at all? Anything
Absolutely. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those sites.
Check it out. Very good. Mary Garrison, CEO of Heritage Behavioral Health, our guest in studio, and the director of the Clinton site, Cory Baxter, in studio with us as well. More to come with them here on The Morning Show.
WHOW. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. No trading on this Monday with the Juneteenth federal holiday. Corn, beans, and wheat finishing Friday higher. July corn 640 and a quarter, up 17. September corn up 24, 594. December new crop 597 and a half, up 23. July beans closing Friday 1466 and a half, up 38 and a quarter. August beans up 39, 1407 and a half, and November new crop 1342 and a quarter, up half a dollar. July wheat closing 688, up 26 and a half. September wheat up 28 and three quarters, 701 and a half. July bean meal 416.40, up 22.20. July bean oil 59.69, up 126. Livestock market, August feeders 234.92, up 80 cents. June live cattle up 77 cents, 178.35, and July lean hogs 92.85, up 92 cents. Trading resumes Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Bond from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we finally have new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels. Custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, high countries. This month, get an extra down payment assistance on all Silverados. Baum Chevrolet Buick. We have inventory. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, and good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and the WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Cory Baxter, director of the Clinton Heritage site, along with CEO of Heritage Behavioral Health, Mary Garrison, in studio with us as well. And so much to get to, friends, with this expansion to Sunrise Court for Heritage. Cory, I know you mentioned to me just briefly in that last segment that you currently have group settings for substance use, but looking to utilize that space on Sunrise Court and expand on that group setting. What does that look like for Heritage?
So we really want to offer not just substance use group for adults. We also want to expand that to include mental health groups for both teens, kids, and adults.
Okay.
So, that's kind of what we're really looking forward to. Group counseling can be really effective for people. It can really help build up some support and really help people feel that they are not alone in what they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So people can oftentimes really learn about each other.
Sure. Now, I know you're also, Cory, in the school system. Speak to that a little bit. What's that look like for you?
Right. So we have really great working relationships with all the schools in the area. We have done quite a few things. We have done Ending the Silence, which is a program that we presented to all the junior high kids this past year. And it's really meant to educate kids on, what mental health concerns look like, what to do when you need help, and really try to bring down that stigma part where people have judgments and things like that. Mm-hmm. We're also there doing counseling. We're also there. We just have a little presence where we do cafeteria visits a lot of times, where we just sit there, talk to the students, get to know them a little. But really, we just want to build those relationships with the school and continue with the community.
I want to ask, what have you seen as kids get back to normal? We really just went through the first normal school year we've had since the 2018, school year, all the way back then. Cory, what are you seeing with kids of that age? What are they going through? What are they talking to you about?
We're seeing a lot of concerns with anxiety, lots of concerns with, kind of depression, and it's kind of like all the things we used to see, but it just seems a little more intense now. So,
How so?
It just seems like there may be more of a need with kids right now. So it's more frequent that we're getting requests, I think, for kids, things like that.
Sure. I appreciate you weighing in on that, because that's something, as I talk with folks in Piatt County a lot about their programs in their schools. They're seeing a lot more kids in need, and anxiety is a big one. I mean, anxiety, depression, just a lot of despair even, in kids. And we've seen data kind of bear that out a little bit. But back to to heritage in Clinton and those sorts of things. You mentioned you're in schools, Cory. Do you have presence anywhere else in the community? I mean, what else are you doing here locally?
We go wherever we're requested to go. So we do some work at the hospital sometimes for crisis intervention in particular. But wherever we're requested. So we might end up at the jail sometimes. We might end up in different community organizations at times. And then we also have supported housing with Cleveland Village.
Sure. And of course, the new location on Sunrise Court, Mary, is going to lend itself to expansion, both in programming and in terms of staffing. So how about that? What's that look like for you?
Absolutely. I mean, we again, as we kind of take on this new chapter, I guess you will. I will say that the community has been incredibly supportive. The DeWitt County Mental Health Board, Warner Hospital. I'm sure I'm leaving folks out, but they've been really supportive. And I think what that means is everybody's on the same page that there is that increased need in our community. And so we're going to use those resources effectively and to make sure we provide those services. If COVID did anything positive, it would be that at least it brought mental health to the forefront and substance use, I think. And so there's always been need, there's increased need, but now we're able to really talk about it and say, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to come in, okay to ask for help. And that means increased services and need.
What are you most excited about with this new Sunrise Court location?
I think the groups, I really am, because as Cory spoke to, the effectiveness of groups is really kind of, I think, in terms of treatment, such an added benefit. So individuals may come in for their one-on-one session with a therapist, but they also might do groups. So you can do one or the other or both. And it really helps to that road to recovery. And I think, again, makes you feel like you're not alone.
Sure.
So that's really where I see is us really shining kind of in that new area.
Cory, how about you? What are you most excited with the new location?
I think, again, I like the privacy that it offers people, and I like the green space that we have now. And I really like that we're really becoming firmly established. I mean, we are here, and we are definitely committed, and now we're even more committed.
More visible.
More visible
for sure. Yeah.
And that was a real, when we approached the board about this, we've been looking to expand for a couple of years. And, I've been lucky enough to be here a short time, but a part of the real intense piece of deciding what we're going to do. And our board said, yes, we want that bigger footprint in Clinton.
Well, I hate to do this to you guys. I got to let you go. Mary, Garrison, Cory Baxter, Heritage Behavioral Health, our guests in studio. Network news on the way.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW